Are yearbooks a good source of factual information about people? No. That's a very, very brief answer. If you just wanted my answer to that question, you got it. Feel free to click away. I'm going to go over that a little bit more and what I mean. So I attended, and I'm going to use a certain set of yearbooks as an example, and I'll even show you the covers for those who are interested. I was on yearbook in middle school, so I know that kind of thing is really exciting. And so I'm going to use high school as an example. So why, on a very cursory, like, why did I say no? What's biggest reasons? There are two immediate ones. One, it does not include everybody. It does not even, like, sometimes there will be a list of people who are not pictured but attended the school, but even that wasn't accurate. And there were people who, for privacy reasons or domestic violence or stuff like that, were not actually included in the yearbooks. Privacy, and I'll take a step back and say not domestic violence, privacy and protection reasons. They chose not to have their picture or names appear in these books, and nowhere in the books do they make a point of saying not everybody in this book, like not everybody who attended the school is part of this book. So that in itself, if it was, they were trying to make a factual document, I did not participate. Oh, airplane! I did not participate in yearbook in high school. My sister did, but they weren't, and knowing a lot of swimmers were on like the editorial board or part of yearbook, and factual accuracy was not a focus whatsoever. It was about kind of social control. Yearbook kids kind of were towards the more popular end of the spectrum, which means they could also be really like mean girls and stuff like that. High school dynamics. I attended Shoreline Community College my last 2 years to get away from stuff like that. Still had to interact with some of them on swim team though. And so, but mean girls and like, anyway, high school dynamics. I'm not in high school anymore. So, first yearbook, freshman year, the theme was MacBook. So Shorewood High School, it's a public school in the city of Shoreline, which is north of Seattle. So we're not part of Seattle Public Schools. And so the first, had a MacBook program where during the school year we were allowed to use MacBooks, and then we returned them before the summer was out, and that was where it was about making sure everybody had access to technology to do the schoolwork. So that's where that came from. Then, so that was freshman year, and yeah, I think I got it. That's the binding. Oh yeah, and they even did the bottom, like the bottom of the MacBook. This is sophomore year, under construction, because it felt like everything on campus was under construction and around our school was under construction. So under construction, pretty self-explanatory. And then channel 09. So this was like it was 08 to 09 year. So static, wait, stuff is coming kind of thing, disruption. So that was my junior year. And then Legacy 2010. This is like kind of a, in my opinion, a cop-out of a theme. So this is my senior year, and it's just kind of like, seriously? The Olympics weren't even held in the United States of America. Like, come on. Talk about lazy for coming up with a theme. And so, like, I live in Washington State in the United States of America. So there was a bit of just kind of like, I get why the Olympics were chosen as a theme for this last one, but it's also like, do they not understand that Canada is not the United States of America? I don't know. That's not the only, like, poorly reasoned thing that these people did. So in addition, I said not everybody in the book, like, there was no accuracy or, like, truth fact-checking or anything like that, and nor was there any attempt at that, and nor was that communicated in this publication, if you want to call it that, anywhere. That there was a commitment to the truth and making sure people were included in that kind of thing. But the second big thing is the misspelling of names. So if you want something to be a factual document, you have to, speaking from experience, even just on, like, at a school level, filling out forms for, like, majors and minors and financial aid and stuff like that, you have to spell the name correct if you want something to be taken seriously and count as documentation. And that is something that our the people who worked on Yearbook did not do. They did not spell check the yearbook. Specifically, they did not spell check the yearbook in regards to names. And how do I know that? Because I had in almost every single entry, this is even with my sister on like Yearbook, like she likes to bully me, and so that was one way. It was like, let's just say she doesn't have the same last name as me and cross the H out, and so they'd misspell my name purposefully. And then, in addition to my sister, there were people that I swam with, grew up with, attended multiple schools with, who would just like, let's just play with her, that kind of thing. And so they wouldn't spell my name correctly. And I wasn't the only one impacted by this. There were a bunch of people who with misspelled names. So if you're looking for an actual, like, factual document, truth, who attended Shorewood High School, who was on the track and field team, stuff like that, these are not factual documents. They got it wrong, even on a just most simple as name spelling. And so I'll provide one example. Let's go with me. So editors misspelled my name wrong on these pages. So there were multiple entries. So there were 5 entries, 3 misspelled. So 60% of the times my name was included in this book, it was misspelled. So let's go to an example of that. So let's go to 232. Oh, yeah. Okay, so they misspelled here. They spelled my name, so it has an H in it. The editors, let's put it this way. They're not necessarily the most culturally literate people, nor did they make an effort to spell those of us who have names that are different. So like Hardy, it's a multi-language last name, so it's not a single language like just an English last name. It's Roman, not Gothic, not Italian, Roman, Leon. Hardy is German, so it's, people struggle with languages, and our editors were, and they struggle with cultures and understanding people who have mixed backgrounds. And so, yeah, just oppression is a real thing, and that even carries through on Yearbooks. And so, like, if you're not going to spell the person's name right, it's no longer truthful. It's not a factual document. And not only did they pick on me, this is a really good yearbook to show just how bad it was. So this is my senior year, right? I can't even get a yearbook with my name spelled right, and that's with someone in charge of this who I was raised with. Like, you're just like, really? That low, lady? That low? Okay, that's just female bullying me. Typical thing from the mean girl types. Okay, and then in addition to my name being spelled wrong, they spelled McDowell wrong. So it's a capital D. And so like, again, just to some people that's not a big deal. If it's actually a person's name, it is a big deal. So there was that one, and then the other, oh, and then they misspelled my name wrong again. And you know what the best part is? I was swim team captain. They can't even put in the time or effort to make sure they get the captains of the team right. And that's when the people in charge of making sure this is accurate are athletes themselves. Oh, talk about discrimination. All right. And then the other big one is water polo. So water polo, girls. I'm a girl, I'm a woman, I am female. And they did not take the time to make sure they got the coach correct. Like, this isn't even close. Like, come on. Way to half-ass it at a yearbook team. The coach's name is not Jordan Redlock, it is Redford. So they misspelled the name here. And then they also misspelled the name Tanis. One N. That can be hard for some people. 5 letters is a lot to handle, especially when you've been raised with someone for over a decade. So, and we're athletes, so that should be prefaced here. Is people that I knew is either a sibling, so real family, or athletes. And in athletics, names are posted, so you get my full name. He thinks people might have paid attention or cared, but no. So yeah, we're gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, but let's say that they're not bullying me. Well, then they're just culturally illiterate and super inattentive. They lack the ability to pay attention. And so they misspelled both my first name, and there's an H again. German is hard for people. I am finding out in my life. Is there a little residual? Yeah, it's high school. I mean, they're yearbooks, and they're not truthful. So I guess there's that kind of takeaways. Well, high school, it's high school, and if they had wanted something to last for more than 4 years, they would have made sure it was accurate or truthful, and these yearbooks are not. And so that's just something to keep in mind, is if people bring up, like, I've seen on, like, family tree sites, them talking about yearbooks as factual documents, and I'm like, you gotta get your brain checked if you think that's right. Like, maybe you had a much better experience, but from what I've heard, this is pretty typical, that the yearbook committee, team, whatever you want to call it, pick on students and purposefully misspell names, deliberately, I guess is a better word, misspell names and stuff like that. So just, yeah. Germans have been picked on for a while in the United States of America. Nothing new, but in terms of factual accuracy, these are wrong, erroneous. Sources of information, this would be better going somewhere else. Yeah, at least in regards to me. So, could think of this as a way overblown response and just be like, well, if you want to find factual records on me, the yearbooks are not correct. But for those that the editors, I mean, that's kind of right, the underlying essence of oppression is we're going to correctly spell these people's names and not these other people's names, so that this is only a factual document for some people. But technically, for me, I have a higher standard than that. Get it all right if you want to be taken seriously and you want to be taken truthful, because if you don't get it right for some, you probably didn't even get it right for yourself. You probably put yourself in, photoshopped yourself into more photos than you actually took part in. So, just playing devil's advocate here. So, if you can't get even coaches' names right, there's a problem.